The story of the Dodge Neon SRT4 is a sad one. That's because it started out as one of the best performing domestic 4-cylinder front-wheel drive sedans of all time. Then guys like this fucked it up for everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, this is before you buy a Dodge Neon SRT4. Now that opening statement wasn't an exaggeration actually. When it was released in 2003, the Neon SRT4 dominated with a capital D the domestic compact sedan market here in the US. The SRT4 was created to compete with import brands such as Honda and Toyota. And not only did the SRT4 compete with those brands, but it dominated them with a capital D. With its 2.4-liter turbocharged inline-4 producing 230. There's actually some numbers that even bump it up to 238. But guess what? Dodge and Chrysler have been known to downplay horsepower numbers. That's right. A lot of independent buyers ended up strapping this mofo to the dyno, and it was actually producing somewhere around 255 freaking horsepower. It also came with a 5-speed manual transmission, upgraded suspension for better handling, and a 0 to 60 time of 5.6 seconds. Now to put that into perspective, a 5.7-liter 350 horsepower Hemi-powered Charger RT shares the same 0 to 60 second as this tiny little 4-cylinder Neon. It was obvious to everyone that the SRT4 was in a category of its own. So much so that it even invented its own word, domestic import. Let that sink in for a little bit. So, what ended up happening? All the Honda boys started buying SRT4s. That's right. You know that old saying that says, if you can't beat them, join them? That's exactly what happened. And a lot of these guys brought that hooning Honda mentality to the SRT4s. And ironically enough, that was the beginning of the end for the Neon SRT4. Which brings me to the bad and ugly portion of our video. Nowadays, it's harder to find a Neon SRT4 that hasn't been passed around like a Vietnamese hooker on a hot summer day. Ooh, Mr. Honey! Let's go ahead and cover a couple of the problems you might experience and you might encounter when buying a Dodge Neon SRT4 in 2018. First of all, we will start with the input shaft. It usually tends to shit on you after a while. The third gear synchro ends up taking a dump as well. Then there's a lot of people who ended up building their Neons to make over 400 horsepower and they failed to reinforce or get or upgrade their axles. And that's another issue you might experience is axle problems. The problem was that this car already came with so much wheel hop and add that much more horsepower to it without reinforcing certain parts, and you end up breaking your axles. Also, the clutch pivot forks tend to go before 100,000 miles. So keep that in mind. If you get a Neon with over 100,000 miles, those things are about to go any second. And there's also the infamous third gear grind or just third gear taking a crap on you altogether. Either way, I hope you guys learned a little something from the SRT4. If you guys are in the market for one, I hope you guys keep in mind what we just covered in today's video. If you have any suggestions for any future before you buy videos, let me know in the comment section down below. Either way, it's your boy Mr. Random. Catch you on the next one.